My turmeric is looking a little bit sad with some of the cooler weather that we've gotten. So I'm going to dig it out today and see how we did. This veggie patch where I planted my herbs right outside my kitchen hasn't got the best soil. It's a little bit sandy, it's a little bit water phobic, and things have been growing, but they haven't really been growing great, other than my rosemary. My basil didn't do too bad in some spots. I did okay with some of my coriander, and my sage is doing well, my horseradish is okay, and my lemongrass is okay. So I'm just going to dig these up, and hopefully I've got enough to plant out somewhere else next year. I think I planted about 10 plants in here, but I've only got 2 that have survived. So I may forage around for the other ones and see if they're still there. And hopefully I've got enough in these plants to spread for next year. Last year I had a beautiful flower on my turmeric, but this year they didn't flower. They weren't very happy here. I did get one rhizome. Let's see what else we can find. This one didn't really grow anything other than a new plant, so I'm going to pot this up and put it in my hothouse to replant next year. It's a pretty dismal crop, especially when I had about 10 plants. I think a lot of them died in the drought that we had, and I think maybe some mice dug some up and ate them as well. But I grow these for their absolutely stunning flowers. They have the most beautiful flower. I'll try and find a photo of last year's flower. I only had it in a pot, but I did really well. And I also grow them for their medicinal use and their culinary use. Obviously, they're used in a lot of Indian cookery, but they are a wonderful anti-inflammatory, and I wanted to make some turmeric chai latte mix with them. If you add pepper in, it helps release all the anti-inflammatory goodness from them. So they are a wonderful crop to grow. You just need to find the right spot in your garden. Obviously this wasn't the right spot, but we will try again. So I'm just going to plant them here in this pot. Hopefully the terracotta will wick out all the excess moisture, and then I can divide them next spring and plant them out in my garden. I might even plant them in here. We won't have the plastic on. It's got nice soil in here. So I just gathered some aged cow manure and some compost. So it needs a bit of water because it's a bit dry, but it will come good once it gets some nice water. This is my little ginger plant that's in the hothouse. It seems to be doing alright in here. It's still quite warm in here, but I believe it will get quite cool in here over winter. So it shouldn't rot because I can control the amount of water that it gets. But I'm hoping it'll do alright in this pot. While I'm in here, I thought I'd give you a greenhouse update. I am a little overrun with weeds, but I'm slowly picking away at them, and I'll show you all the gems that are in here. These are the sweet potatoes that we get from the produce bins, and I've noticed a few roots starting to grow, which is brilliant, which means we should get slips soon and I can pot them up for spring. Now I'm thinking about showing you guys all the produce that we get in these produce bins. We collect 3,500 litres of green waste from our one of our local supermarkets. There are 5 major supermarkets in the 2 large towns that surround us. They are about 12 minutes from each other, and this is just one supermarket, and we collect 3,500 litres a week from them. Now a lot of it is like the adders of cabbages and lettuces, but we also find things in there like garlic and sweet potatoes and other things like ginger that we can grow and have our own plants. A lot of people have said, well, why don't you just eat it and don't bother growing it? But I much rather grow it in our soil organically than have something that's been shipped to a supermarket and have sat there for who knows how long and is devoid of nutrients and life. I like picking things fresh and using fresh from the garden. But I'm using this produce, instead of just going to waste, we're using it to feed our pigs and our chickens, and I'm also using some of it to grow our own food, like these sweet potatoes and garlic. In through the weeds you can see that I'm getting little carrots popping up. These are from seeds that I saved from my own crop, an heirloom crop. I believe these are all white and there may be some purples in amongst them, but it was mainly my white carrots that went to seed this year. These are my cucumbers. I'll have to hand pollinate all the things in here, but this is one of them. We have a heap of volunteer tomatoes, so it'll be awesome to have tomatoes through winter and early spring, but I'd have to hand pollinate these as well. I've got all my seeds here growing away. I need to put them into individual pots very soon. I've got some coriander growing, but I found some of the mice ate the seeds, so I might have to replant some of those. And these are my zucchinis, which are super easy to hand pollinate, so I'm looking forward to that. I use these a lot in winter in soups, but they are really doing well in here. I'm really happy. My beans are also doing really well. I'm going to have to hand pollinate these as well, but they are growing beautifully. And I've got some eggplant in here which we pulled out of the veggie patch that I needed to plant my garlic in, but as you can see we've got a beautiful one growing here, and we've got plenty more flowers. And these are my sweet potatoes in pots, and they're growing really nicely in here. Hopefully they can survive the winter in these pots. Oh, that one's getting really big. And then I'll plant them out come spring when the frost is gone.